Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show, the podcast here. We're back with another episode. Excited for the next one. We got a powerhouse of a guest coming in, local business community member. Someone also I get to call my friend. Maybe you've seen him in your house. I'm sure you've seen him driving around town. Pierre Closets co-owner here, Roby Bass, is coming in the mix. Since 2011. Roby and his wife, Krista, have been dedicated to simplifying and beautifying homes and businesses across the region, designing and manufacturing top-notch custom closets and storage solutions. Roby's a true local leader, a fantastic friend, and just an overall good dude. And kind of the concept behind these podcasts is we want these thought-provoking people in our community that we know of to hear their story, get to know them, and how it all ties in together with this big thing we call life. Excited to have Roby. Welcome to the podcast, and let's dive in. All right. So diving in, Roby Bass takes a little bit of time out of his busy day, his busy schedule, the craziness of Pierre Closets to come out. Yep. Thank you for coming along, Roby. Appreciate it.
Yep. It's glad to be here. It's fun.
No, right on, man. So, I know that we've been able to link up for the last few years through the chamber board and presidency and vice presidency and blah, 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 and the whole ins and outs of that. But we've really gotten to know each other. Yeah. But maybe not everybody else knows the story of Pierre Closets and what you've got going on. How about you just lay a little bit of groundwork of where that thing kind of started and where we're at right now?
It's hard for me to kind of narrow it down to it's a big story, right? We kind of started in 2011, and it's been a journey for sure. And so there's been a lot of great things and a lot of heartache through it all too. It's kind of life of learning with it all. And we're happy to come into people's homes and create solutions for them, and that's what we get to do. And I'm love to talk to you about it more.
Yeah, no, so on the intro, I said you might have seen him in your house, or you see the vehicle driving around town with the Pierre Closets.
That's right.
Across the side.
Yeah.
Let's speak to that. How is that experience when you're walking in? Are people getting to showroom ready to get their place ready for you? Or are you walking into some disasters too?
That's a good question. So I personally would rather have it be exactly how you left it the day the first time you walked in at lunch break, right? Like we're meeting over your lunch break. We come in and it's a disaster. Like everyone always feels like I don't want someone to come in and look at my closet because that's gonna look so bad. But I want to see that, and also Alicia, our other designer as well. You get to see what's going on. Like, is it all shoes on the floor? Is it I don't have anywhere to hang stuff? I need more folding space. Is it I need a hamper? You know what I mean? Like there's just so many things that you can go in and just kind of visually, and we get to walk them through, how do you live? Because not every space is made to fit you. You walk into a home and a lot of times it's a shelf and rod, and so and that does fine for some people, but a lot of people, they have more than that, and there's a bigger need there. So, yeah.
No, yeah, I get it. You open your doors, and I just think, well, shoot, if we had people come over, it's a mad dash to let's wipe this down. Maybe we pick a few things up here, but
maybe we create spots for you to shove stuff in and shut the doors. Yeah,
without a doubt.
It works for you, right?
But I go back. It's no different than in our world with New Edge and financial literacy and what we talk about with people. People are coming in with a baggage of stuff, right?
Yeah,
they've got a life that they've lived. They're trying to figure things out. Whether you're a 55-year-old, a 25-year-old, whatever it is, you're walking in. Some some you don't know. And then you bring in an expert like yourself, and I like to think of us as that expert in the financial world, financial planning, those things for people around that we work with. You just don't know until you're in the mix. Yeah. And the beauty of it is I always tell people, let's just talk. I just want to know more about you. The more that I understand about the situation, your fears of what's going on or what you'd like to accomplish, then all of a sudden the book opens up and it's like a blooming flower. We're like, oh, this is what we can get done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You see some of those aha
Oh,
moments with people?
yeah, dude, it makes me so excited to even think about that. And a couple of reasons is like I'm relating to what you're saying, the excitement of it, because it's so fun qualifying people and just walking like, how do you live? How do you do this? Like, and sometimes they're like, why do you care? But like in my mind, I'm like building it in my mind and like taking away things, putting things in places, and like just structuring it all out with everything they're, giving us. And like, there's just something about being scared to ask, right? And
Right.
just like letting someone into their home, kind of the same thing with financials, like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to know that I failed feeling, or maybe they're just doing awesome, too. So
Right.
it's just fun to find out and help people, that's
Oh,
the
oh,
enjoyment. Yeah.
certainly. I mean,
Yeah.
you see it, and I'll tie it back into mine. Money is a
Mm-hmm.
taboo subject, right?
Oh,
I mean, you just
100%.
be like, hey, yeah, here's my credit card debts, and
Yeah.
this is what I got for student loan. Is this
Yeah.
normal? Is this what
Yeah.
most people have? And the
Yeah.
beauty of it, hey, I've heard every single story. And the thing
Yeah.
is, whether you're ahead, behind, right in line, we can find you to that next level up. It's just we've
Yeah.
got to open up the doors. I know Brad uses it all the time with his office. We try to treat ourselves kind of like a doctor's office. The more that
Yeah.
we can understand about your whole body, your whole picture, the
Sure.
easier it is for us to relate. The easier
Yeah.
it is for us to focus in on the topic that makes the most sense right now. I mean, just
Yeah.
because my ankle hurts, if I'm bleeding from my shoulder, we probably got to stop the blood pouring out first, right?
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
we'll get to that rolled ankle. We got to
Yeah.
we got to rest, ice compression, and elevate that real quick. But you're
100%.
bleeding out of the side. We got to get
Yeah.
that taken care of right now, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's just fun, people don't know until they know, I mean, like we all have limitations, right? So like it's just finding, everyone's at a different level in different areas. And so it's just it's fun to ask professionals, and just kind of finally inviting them in. Just it opens up so much more for potential for your family and your own life, So
Yeah. And I can speak to it specifically. The old mother-in-law, I know,
yeah,
had the opportunity to chat with you, and
yeah,
when you
that's
get
cool.
an opportunity like that, and then you get comfortable with somebody, then
Yeah,
they can start asking the questions
yeah,
that are a little bit quirky, that they
yeah,
may not have asked on day one, but day five, after you've got kind of a layout, you're like, you know what, I don't like that part, but
yeah,
what do you think about this revolving door that we
yeah,
could throw in here? And then we
yeah,
get that relationship gets built, and the comfort. I always tell people comfort and confidence. If we can get
yeah.
comfortable and confident with what it is that we're doing, then
Yep.
we're going to buy into the little things that are going to happen, because we know
100%.
there's going to be road bumps, but we can get through those things if we're
Yeah.
comfortable and confident with the plan that we set out.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times those road bumps aren't very large to maybe the professional, but they are to the individual, and so like it's just, it's maybe it's something they stressed over or
Yeah.
whatever in their life from childhood, maybe even, and so like it's just like being able to be there to counsel them through that, and so yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's
And,
good.
speak to this, because I've seen it in ours too. When you had and you mentioned it, you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
100%.
How have some of those moments come when people and you show them maybe the landscape of what you could do, that
Mhm.
they just that light beams out of them, and they're like,
Yeah,
really, you
yeah,
could do that for little
yeah,
old me,
yeah,
and in the house that I live,
yeah,
because here I use this a lot with people too. Comparison is the thief of joy. You could jump onto Google and look at the coolest house
yeah,
with the nicest closet and the
yeah,
greatest pantry and all those different things. Yeah, certainly they're out there, and somebody bought
yeah.
that and they live in it and whatever it might be, but
Or
that's
it's
not
AI.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Or it's AI generated. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
or it's
Yeah.
AI generated.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
But
that's I think the beauty. We manufacture a lot of our parts here. I mean, majority of our parts are manufactured here in Pierre, right? So like we touch every part, so like, but when we use our software program to show them their room, their specs, this is what I kind of came up with. It just kind of shows them like kind of like those, like, what was maybe in their head. You get it down on a 3D rendering of it so they can kind of like visualize that whole room. It's really so many times it's like, that's it. Or that's where it's such a good starting point. I mean, just getting
yeah,
something there. And, I always laugh with people too, like, hey, when I walk away and I come up with some stuff and I email you, like, if I don't have it right, just tell me, I mean, like,
Yeah.
hey, you completely don't understand what I'm talking about, and that's fine because now it's just now we have another step to go, to get there.
Yeah,
So,
we can dial
it's
things
just so
back and then
fun.
move
Yeah.
ourselves back forward. No,
Yep. That's
no,
right.
you're
Yep.
exactly right. But that's yeah, it all starts with that initial relationship. And
Hmm.
so I know you mentioned 2011 was when this kind of thing kicks off.
Yeah.
So I mean that's 14 years ago. That's some time. And I know I
Yeah.
had one of those questions in there. Out the
Yep.
gate, how does this
Yeah.
custom manufacturing closets
Yeah.
pique your interest? And I'm
Yeah.
going to dial back because I know we got your son over your shoulder here.
Oh, yes.
You
And
know,
daughter. Yep.
and
Yep.
you think about high school,
Yeah.
Robbie. I mean, was something in this realm always on your mind of what you would thought yourself would get into as
Yeah.
an adult type of a thing, or did this
No.
just bloom out of nowhere?
Bloomed out of nowhere. So, I mean, a little bit. Now, I say bloomed out of nowhere, but there's a lot of heartache and I have flies in here, just so you know. So
Yeah, you're
the
good.
guys have the doors open sometimes when it gets a little warm with the machinery. So like I get to deal with that sometimes too. So,
Yeah,
but I think 2011 we moved here a week before the flood, and we're from this area, and
yeah,
I don't mind going into kind of the whole story if you're good at that kind of. So, and um we lived in Montana. I was an electrician, and I
yeah.
went to school, Mitchell Tech. And then me and my wife Krista got married right before I went to school. We on a hair, just hey, let's go to Kalispell, Montana. Don't know why, but it was awesome. We were there for 6 years. Kids were born there. No
Yeah,
family, great friends, luckily. But there did 2008 hit, and we did a lot of large homes. It's a small company. There's just three of us in the business, and I did a lot of low voltage and we did a lot of residential homes up on Whitefish Mountain and just a lot of cool experiences.
sure.
But during that time, sounding not too weird, but I would go into homes of people with these beautiful places, and I'd just be looking in their cat, like how were they built, and the finishing, and I just couldn't get it out of my head, like all the manufacturing, the woodworking, and all the different steps of furniture, and how did they do that? And it fascinated me, and I've always been someone that I love to dive into things, rip things apart, and like put them back together. When I was younger, my mom giving us old mixers, and I'd always just liked doing that.
Right.
Um, and so it was just fun, to kind of dive in. And it was usually when I would dive into something, I would do it to where I kind of would, wet my whistle enough and then I'd just kind of get over it, right? And so, but man, woodworking and finishing, it doesn't end.
Yeah.
You can always become better, and so it's kind of a pursuit. And so, at that time, 2008 hit though, we decided, we were low on money for sure. I was painting part-time. I was an electrician part-time at that time. And then, I also built stuff out of my one-car garage at that time too. So,
Right.
and it was just like, hey, we want a dresser for our new baby, friends. And I would trade him for a planer. You know what I mean? Like it was just very raw and just more of a passion. And I loved doing it, right? I mean, it was fun. So,
Well,
and
so
yeah,
that's a great part. So
yeah,
as organized as you've become now,
yeah,
you miss that rawness of
yeah.
of the unknown? Are you like, no, I'm so happy that we're at our spot right now? Because there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
that in the unknown, the excitement of
100%.
waking
Yeah,
up and just going, you know what, if I got to eat today, I got to hunt and I got to get
yeah,
something done and I got to take care of it.
yeah. Those were good days, but I don't know if I wouldn't ask to go back. But,
Yeah.
things were simpler. So we always kind of want to go back to when something's simpler. But when we get there, we really know it wasn't that great, probably, probably. So,
Yeah.
so like I really wouldn't probably rewind to go back because yeah, we do put a lot of stress in organization. And one reason that's what we do, but internally, paperwork, videos. We try to just train as much as we can to the customer about our products and other people's products,
Right.
and just to give them knowledge and information, and they can make their decisions, right? So like that's kind of our goal is just to teach. And
Yes.
so, but if I went to learn a lot, I wouldn't know how to teach it, I guess. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So,
but
so obviously you had a little bit of a background as far as, I mean, with the wiring part and the whole thing.
yep,
I mean, is the woodwork working stuff just kind of trial and error and
yeah,
and figuring it out and measure
hmm
twice, cut once type thing or
100%.
what?
Yeah. So yeah, it really was. It was just, fueling something in my heart, to be honest with you. So,
Ah,
I enjoyed the sanding and the staining and clear coating at that time. So I mean, you know, my wife, we would travel places, and it so sounds weird now, but if Sherwin-Williams would be in that town, I gotta go stop at that Sherwin-Williams.
I got
You
to
know
go
what I mean?
check
Like,
it
I
out.
just got to know more, and they probably need to know who I am. But they care less. But
Is
I just
Sherwin
want to know
or
what
Williams in
products.
town today? I need to meet these guys.
Yeah, and I just want to know what products are on their shelves so bad. Like, I just wanted to get more information.
Ah,
So
I
yeah.
love it. I mean,
Anyway,
the raw piece that we get right here in these moments is just your passion for what it is that you're
yeah,
doing, which
sure.
is the coolest part of it all, right?
Yeah,
And that's no different than myself. I mean, you use it, you teach is what you do. You know, I did teach as a middle school science teacher. I've always coached, and I tell people now when they ask like, a little bit what I do is I coach and I problem solve, right? And if anything, I tell people I'm a professional worrier, so you don't
yeah,
have to, right?
100%.
And
Yep.
and but the whole thing is coaching and teaching and leaning into people to get them to feel trusted, honest, and comfortable with what it is that you're bringing to the table, because that's what it's all about, right? Because you're
Yep.
walking into my home and I'm going, Robbie, solve this problem for me.
Yep.
And then you create some sort of intricate plan that I
Yep.
go, there's no way that you can
Yeah.
make this fit in my little room. And then
Yeah.
boom, 6 to 12 weeks, and I'm just throwing out times, boom, it's
Yeah.
there. And on the
Yep.
other side of it, you get rave reviews of everything
Yeah.
that you've done.
Yeah. 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 It's been
No.
great. Yep.
So I know you, Krista, spouse,
Yep.
as part owner in this thing. How's that been? What did she do before,
Yeah.
or has it always been you guys in tandem working on these things? And is
Yeah.
that dynamic? I'm sure there's been give and take in that too.
100%. So Krista she does today our all of our books and stuff like that with it. So, but full time she does clean homes. And
Yeah,
so rewinding back, there she cleaned a few homes, but she was honestly, your question you had was like, how do we manage it together, right? And I would say she was the glue for our household. I mean, like, she put her whole heart into that. I was chasing these other dreams a lot, and so we have just amazing children, and a lot would have to come to her on that, I think, and our family just, we would be lost without her, so like, she's always, on the accounting end of it, she always keeps me current and legal. And it's so as we grow, we both are understanding there's more though. Now we're starting to really track numbers, and we're starting to,
yeah,
internally, like, what's it look like? Or, instead of just going off feelings,
yeah,
it's easy for me to be like, oh, you should work harder to somebody. But, really, if you look at it, like, if they worked harder, they're going to stand over in the next process anyways, because the machine's too slow. It
yeah,
doesn't really matter if they worked harder right there or not. It's
right.
just a feeling, right? So, and I just, so she's just always been there. I mean, many times when I'm just like, oh, should we quit? I mean, there's been so many, and just a lot of tears on the same side too. And she's probably that one saying, like, happily, like, I don't know, should we? Because it was hard
Right.
on my
I'm
family,
asking the question,
Yeah.
but you can't answer it the way that we both want to answer it right now.
Okay.
You have to, in this moment, say, no, we can't quit. We've got a forge on.
100%. Yes,
Yes,
100%.
no.
We're going
Well,
through it all.
absolutely. As a coach, I always tell people it's in the adversity that you really find out about yourself, right? And
Yeah.
it's in those tough times. You mentioned
Oh,
2008,
yeah.
2009,
Yeah.
global economy was one of the
Yep.
worst times, and US economy certainly was awful.
Yep.
A terrible time for a lot of people, and some people haven't gotten over that in some cases, right? But
Yes.
it's
Yep.
it's in those moments, and I use this a lot when you think about. I think it's the difference between a cow and a buffalo. If there's a store on the horizon, a cow may try to move away from it, whereas a buffalo and the herd of the bison are going to move into it and through it, right? Because if you move
Yep.
away, it's just slowly, it's going to get you anyways, right?
100%.
But if at the very least, if I just hold tight and do what I'm saying, or just inch forward, it's going to pass by me, and I'm going to see the other side in the blue skies and clear skies going forward. But no, that's awesome. I mean, there's going to be stories, there's got to be heartache, there's got to be triumphs, and all those things. I'm sure. I mean, it's got to be like that first dollar bill that you make on the profit, right? You got to have that thing plastered
100%.
on the top and go, man, we're making ends meet. Right.
We can buy shoes. Yeah. That's right.
Yes. No, that's so cool. So, and you kind of spoke, I mean, it started with just the two of you. How long after did you guys develop to that you started bringing people into the mix?
Yeah. So, I used to cut everything by hand. I mean, everything was like we moved here, we had nothing. We had nothing. And so like my brother helped a lot at that time, kind of get a shop together down by the elevator, and we kind of started working out of there. And it was just my tools that fit my little Ford two-door Ranger, and we just kind of got here, and I kind of got lost. What was the question again? Sorry.
Well, just in the sense of how you guys have developed from a two-partner organization to now there's multiple of you, and just how that's developed, across the board to go, hey, instead of me cutting all the boards, maybe the development is the machines. And I've been out at your place. I mean, it's crazy what you got, but how is that? I mean, you just kind of get to the point where you're like, let's start adding into it.
Yeah. So the first person we hired, I used to hand draw all the kitchen cabinets and stuff that we did, and we'd make every part, the doors, everything by hand. And the first person I hired, I had this really big vertical saw that me and Krista went to Wisconsin on a trip to get it once, and we got it back, and just a beast. And he was like, oh, how do I even use this thing? And I just make the cabinet, but it's all in my head. You know what I mean? Like, I just knew how to build it. I didn't know what to tell him.
Right. You just get it done.
Yeah. So, and then that kind of is what triggered that, and then, that's when it started. We need software. I need to develop a product that I can kind of share with our team, and they can produce it then, right? So then we got into CNCs and, making things a little bit more automatic, and that too. So, yeah.
So how many do you have on your team out there right now?
So it's kind of a small team still, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 full-time, and then we have a couple that we're doing some installs and stuff as well. So that are kind of like subs kind of with it too.
Yeah.
So,
I love
there was a time we had 9. And and I'll rewind, like I didn't know what I was doing then. And so like having a goal laid out in front of you, and it doesn't always just work if you have more people, right?
Right.
So,
no. Absolutely. And I'll ask you this, just as a business owner in a town like here, how has that come along as far as finding new employees and people that are suited to what you're trying to get done? How is that wearing that hat, right? Where you're hire, fire in the whole 9 yards in that. Has that been a challenge yourself, or has that come fairly naturally?
I kind of people have always kind of luckily come to us when we're needed, right? But now as we're getting bigger, roles need to be filled more. And so finding the right people, we really focus a lot on our culture and who we are, and so like, we're always sharing, we're always building each other up. We all have bad days, and so like just finding someone. Another thing we really put a lot of weight into is just even the organization, or like lean manufacturing. So we just put a lot into investing into our minds and learning on new ways to do things that aren't typical to a human brain, I guess. And so, some people don't care, and that's okay. I mean, like we're all wired different. So like we kind of struggle sometimes trying to find that fit that's humble, hungry, and wanting to learn more of knowledge, and just wants to eat it up with us, because that's what we all enjoy now. And so, but sometimes people don't, and that's okay. They're amazing people. But the thing,
and there's roles that those people can fill, right? I mean, it just is what it is. You've got to have a whole bunch of different people to make an organization work,
Yeah.
whether it's a big manufacturing group, like a John Deere or something like that, down to
Yeah.
a 4, 5, 9
Yeah.
person organization like you had at
Yep.
one point in time.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it's
Yep.
you mentioned it. You went to school to Mitchell Tech. It's not like you were going there to become a business owner. Becoming a
Mm-mm.
business owner just
Yeah.
kind of, this is what I've got to do. I've got to
Yeah.
learn these things. And
Yeah.
obviously you have Krista with the booking side of things to
Yep.
kind of develop it. But
Yep.
shoot, I tell people all the time, this was me as a teacher. You need to
Mm-hmm.
find yourself being a lifelong learner, right? You got to
100%.
yearn for wanting to know more and just
Yes.
eating up knowledge and just
Yes.
picking up pieces and not being afraid of, like, well, let's figure out how to do this. Even though I don't know how to woodwork, maybe I can find something to just start crafting it, and then you hone your skills, and now you're Pierre Closets,
That's
customizing,
right.
beautifying homes across
That's right.
the Midwest, right?
Yeah. Making smiles all the time.
I love it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
have you, obviously, Pierre, I know that you're in. What's the furthest that you've gone out? I mean, are you guys out of the state? Have you gone to that far type of length?
We have delivered stuff out of the state. We had a few people were working up in North Dakota a little bit, but not a ton. But we are starting to get stuff into Rapid a lot more now. So kind of exciting things were, kind of a new thing for us, but we're working with Connects out in Rapid City. And so that's been awesome. We have a small little showroom thing there with samples and stuff. And so, they have like 6 designers, for your house and stuff like that, and a ton of builders, right? And so
Sure.
we've been working with them. They've been sending us projects and stuff, and so we're actually kind of like shipping them to their location and to their hub and
Right.
going with that. So that's kind of been new. So Rapid City, the Hills, I should say. We've also have another client out there. They have At Home Designs. They have like a few designers there, but they have like a 5,000 square foot showroom. But we're starting to get we're actually have a display we're going to be taking to them soon, and so they have special clientele that they just cater to, and it's really
Yeah. I'm sure it can get fairly customized in what it is that you can do there. Oh, we've got him paused here for a sec. We might have to reboot.
fun. We really come up with a lot of fun.
Do I still got you? Are we still linked up there pretty good?
Are you back? Oh, there. Yeah, I just got it now.
Yeah.
Kind of. I have
Well,
oh, yep, thumbs up stayed a little longer than it should, but I got it now.
we're back on track. We're back on track.
Yep.
No, that's so cool. So if you had to, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think right now is Pierre Closet's biggest challenge over the next 6 to 12 months? I mean, is there something that kind of stands out of this is the hump that we're trying to get over right now?
Yeah. I think for Pierre Closets, I think I think kind of trying to figure out how to get more people involved in, like, we have a lot of new homes in Pierre, right? And they're outside of Pierre, and stuff like that. So I think a lot of just even people getting to know us more. We're kind of putting a little bit more in our advertisement and things like that. Because I know you know me, and everyone I love going out and seeing people, and so like,
Right.
but it's only my little world, really, and so like there's just so many people that don't know us too still, and so that's going to be a kind of a big thing for us to kind of get into that, just to kind of open it up to more people,
Yeah.
and get there too. So the Rapid thing and local as well, trying to get stuff going more. So yeah.
Right. How has the advertising and marketing piece gone for? I mean, is that something you guys are trying to figure out kind of as you go?
Yeah.
Or is there a
Yeah.
coach that you work with or something like that to go, hey, are you lean on a different company that goes, what have you guys done to get noticed a little bit?
We haven't really stuck to one thing yet. And we've done the digital billboard, which is awesome and great when it was new. We did that for a while, which is cool. And then there's just been like in Facebook, of course, is probably our largest right now, but just being continuous on it though, right? I mean, it's a lot of work. And so like I think kind of diving into the platforms there, and then We're gonna start doing some more radio, so we're kind of teaming up with some people there and doing more of that. And then, there's so much more now with like Google ads, and just stuff like that that we're gonna kind of start going after as well, just to kind of pinpoint, people in areas, and
Right.
stuff too. So yeah. Yeah.
No, and I get it. I mean, you kind of keyed on the
Yeah.
word. You got to be consistent with the marketing,
Oh yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
disciplined with your approach. And I
Yeah.
I use this. I think I've used it a couple of different times in these talks that I've had, but it really resonates with me. You've got two pains in life. You got the pain of discipline and you got the pain of regret, right? The pain of discipline weighs in ounces. The pain of
Yeah.
regret weighs in tons. If you can
100%.
focus on the discipline part, right? The
Yeah.
doing the little things, the being consistent with it, the showing
Yeah.
up, the returning the calls of the closet that you just did last week and following back up versus
Yeah.
letting something slip through the cracks or forgetting this or forgetting that. The
Yeah.
regret is, geez, if we would have just done that, we would have
Yeah.
seen the success. But if you just dial those things in, all of a sudden you can see the fruits of those labors go
Yeah.
forward, right?
Yep.
And in
Yep.
our world, I know it on our front was it's New Edge Advisors now. It was Ranky
Yeah.
Gray Wealth Management,
Congratulations.
right?
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely,
Yep.
right? Ranky Gray Wealth. It's the same group of people, right? But
Yeah.
that wealth management name always stood out to me, and one of those like, do they only work with the wealthy, or do they work people to get wealthy? How does that go? And my big thing has always been, well, wealth is accumulated through sacrifice. It's not needing to have everything right now for a
Yeah.
better tomorrow and those types of things. And the wealthiest of people are willing to see those sacrifices consistently and
Yeah.
through discipline to then
Yep.
build that wealth to what they never thought it once could be. And you
Mhm.
get it. We're young, strapping dudes in the mix.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
30 years of time is a ton of time. And to see what that can really accumulate for people is game changing if you can buy into the systems of what you do.
Yeah.
And, thinking about your system, you're 14 years into this right now. I'm sure you're thinking, well, what does the next decade look like for Pierre Closets? And I'm sure it's as much as we're out to the hills, get me over to the Sioux Falls area, right?
Yeah.
And then if we can get to the Sioux Falls area, where can this really expand from? But I'm sure you see a lot of opportunities just continue to present themselves for you.
Yeah, we have had a lot, and I think there's something to say about that too, like on a plan, like what you're kind of saying too, like having a plan is so critical, like it, even on my end, I'm kind of the dreamer and I love engineering and I just have a passion for growing stuff, but like there's things that come to you that don't make sense though too, but it looks like a shiny thing that's like, oh, a boat, but like, hey, maybe you should put that somewhere else, and so
Yeah.
like there's that even in business too. As you grow, there's just like, oh, there's opportunities everywhere, it feels like,
Right.
and I think just trying to keep that honed in and just stay true to, like you're saying, the small sacrifices and doing your studies, tracking numbers and tracking things, and like numbers don't lie. And that's the cool
Yeah.
part, right? And so like you can really do your research and actually like, I don't know if it's worth it.
Right.
Instead of just putting something on your shoulder saying we do it,
Right.
So,
Oh yeah, we do that,
Yeah.
but it doesn't do anything for us. Well, then
100%. Yep.
maybe we should not do that any longer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like let's
Yep.
figure this out and
Yeah.
be purposeful with
Yep.
and I know there's a saying, if you pay attention to the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm. Yep.
Exactly right. If you pay attention to those things, the rest will start to just snowball its way into existence. Right. And
Yeah.
I know you kind of mentioned this, and I'm taking a little bit of a different attack to it, but as far as like who knows Pierre Closets, right? You obviously have started this for 14 years. Like I mentioned, you're in people's houses. You've got the vehicles that go around. You've got a great little showroom on Facebook that shows what you've done.
Yeah.
But I compare it to, I go down to my little kids' soccer games down at Pilk and show up. And I walk around and I see my boy, and I'll notice a few people, but then I'm like, man, I don't know little parents at all. Like what the world is going on? And it's like we live in 100,000 person town, but there's people everywhere, and there's and I've got this on my list here. It's probably not going to show up really good.
Yeah.
This is a noble business, so call and help. Right. Yeah. It was our CEO and president at ICA that we had. I'd met him one of the very first days that I was in this mix, and had just a nice conversation hanging out. I didn't even know he was actually the president and CEO. I was
Yeah,
just BSing with the guy, having a good
that's cool.
time. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden he goes, "Hey, hold on to this," walks up on stage, and then is, having his little first stage conversation with the whole group. But what
That's cool.
left was, you got a great group that you're working with, the group that I have here that I'm with, but it's a
Mhm.
noble business.
Yeah.
So call and help, do the right thing for people, and then you're going to see
Yes.
things take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've taken that to heart. I take a lot of that from old Diane Nye, the old mother of
Yeah.
mine. Do the right type of thing, right? Smile, wave to people, open doors, do the little things, because you don't know what else anyone else is going through. And if you
100%.
can be
Yeah.
a little bit of a ray of sunshine, why not, right?
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah.
know what the thing is. It takes a whole bunch of muscles to frown, but like less muscles
Yeah.
to smile.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
so why am I not
Yeah.
simmering as
Yeah.
much as I can if it's going to take less work, right?
Yep. Yep.
No.
Yeah. And integrity, I think, is always comes to my mind. And mostly being in the small town and where we live, I mean, just like I want to go to the football Go Govs tonight, right? And yeah, so like you just want to go there and I just love being a part of this community, and so like, but I
Oh,
think like you're saying with opening doors and stuff like that, like and just even giving of your time, and for the community or for others that you don't know, walking, they need a ride, help them get a gas can, and I just think there's just so much importance to all that for not even yourself as well, but I think it changes you internally, and stuff
oh,
too. But you just don't know what people are going through, and there's just so
yeah.
many life. So yeah, it's
Yep.
awesome.
Absolutely. That, I mean, that kind of ties into where I would say we kind of really met, was along the board that we were a part of,
Yeah,
and walked our way through the ups and downs of living in those
yeah,
situations, right? And we
yep,
learned a lot together,
yeah, for sure.
thick and
Yeah.
thin on that stuff. And what
Hmm.
I think you do more than anything is these people that maybe you don't know, you start tangibly seeing the realness of
Yeah.
someone around you, and then the similarities and commonalities that I have, that then breaks down those barriers of how can I help Robbie, or how can I help
Yeah.
the chamber, how can I help the next community. And it's,
Yeah.
showing up to ribbon cuttings and different things like that. And I guess not being a peer person, a peer graduate,
Yeah.
somebody that's from peer, the big thing for me is I just want to be involved, right? I feel like I've
Yeah.
got enough to give, and so much more to give.
Oh yeah.
Then who am I to not lend a helping hand as often as I can, right?
Yep. Yep.
But the biggest part is, I've got my little kiddos over here. I know you got your kiddos.
Mhm.
Let's speak to that as the family. You're running a business. Obviously, there's deadlines and time frames. You've got soccer that you want to travel to.
Yeah.
How has that worked as a business owner? Has it been more
Yeah.
fruitful because you control your time, or has
Yeah.
it created some stresses that you're going, well, I know I can't miss this of the kiddos, so this is going to have to take a side
Yeah.
saddle for a little bit?
You know, I definitely work more than 8 to 5. So, I'm here. I usually try to be here at 6 o'clock every morning. And back in the day, I spent the night here all the time. So but I always was able to leave to go to my kids' events. And
Yep.
so I think, one aspect you kind of have, there's just, I work way more than everyone, but there is a freedom to it though, too. Like it is up to me if I do put that in front of my family or not, and so I think we just been able to, use that, I guess, and go. We love going out of town. We love going to soccer games, and stuff like that. And we just enjoy doing that. So I think we're able to do it, a lot. So which is
No,
good.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
the family dynamic, you just have to do those things.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
speaking in a world where I speak to a lot of retaillees,
Hmm.
going into it, figuring out the plan. In a lot of cases, they're going, how did I get to 65?
Yeah.
How did I even get this old? Right. And then
Yeah.
they'll see I just hung up my kiddos' school pictures. I got
Yeah.
10, 7, and 5-year-old, and they'll
Yeah.
look at them and they'll go, hey, pay attention. It goes fast. And
Yeah.
when you're in the thick of it, like most of us are,
Yeah.
the craziness is I wish it would go faster because I'm so stressed right now, right?
Yeah.
And then when it does settle down, I'm sure there's certainly times where that I wish I could go back. I know
Yeah.
speaking personally there, I miss the times of little skin to skin action with my kiddos where they're
Yeah, for sure.
nestled in to my neck,
Yeah.
and I got that little baby smell that's on me. And
Yeah.
it's like I could live in
Yeah.
this sofa for the
Yeah.
next 25 years,
I
right?
know.
But then
Yeah.
the electricity goes out, and you're like, well, I gotta get that back on,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Or the
Yep.
bill comes in that you got to do, and all those types of things,
Yeah.
So
I
life
know.
never stops unfolding in front of us, but you certainly have to stop and smell the roses, right?
Oh, you have to do it. Yeah. Line up what the priorities are, and stick to it.
Yeah.
It's important for sure.
No. I'm going to go back to where we,
Okay.
went to Mitchell Tech,
Yep.
electrician, figuring life out. You've got
Yep.
passion for things, but being a business owner's new, running books, and you talked about numbers becoming profitable. What type of
Yeah.
resources? I mean, has it been people that you've used? Has it been other companies? How have
Yeah.
you developed that understanding by pulling in those
Yeah.
resources for you? And if you speak to that, what's
Yeah.
your thoughts?
So rewinding back, I think a lot of it was we used to go to, like, me and Krista, for our little vacations, we'd maybe go to a cabinet thing, or in Vegas, or lucky girl. So, and so it's the only way it would work, right? I mean, you
Yeah,
can't,
slots. Let's
but
go.
now we can. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think learning from others, is probably been the most valuable thing. There's been times, where, we used to, like I said, do cabinetry, and we kind of had a point where we had to shift into Pierre Closets and kind of pick a direction a little bit. And so when we did that, some things had to shift in my brain too, because I was always, I loved the journey of the work related to it, but there's so much more in the business that's needed. So it was always getting, who's going to do it? Right. So like it is up to me to do all that too. So there was kind of a time that I had to shift and kind of look more at the business aspect. And I've kind of been able to use that same passion to now put into the whole picture instead of just that one piece.
sure.
And really I just crave to learn more and to dive in. And instead of building one piece of furniture, we're building a whole clan of people in
Yeah,
an organization. And that is just as fun.
right.
That's good. Yep.
It's funny how when you find something that you love, right, and it just becomes natural to
Yeah.
you, you have this black hole that you can consume information to, right?
Yes.
Like
100%.
you never get sick about reading these new techniques or new
Yeah.
ways to do things and so on and so forth, right? I got this book here from Nick Murray, one of the first books that I read. This time isn't different. And it's, shock proofing our clients, so on and so forth. But I remember the first book that I read and it just resonating with me, like,
Yeah.
holy cow.
Yeah.
Like, what an eye opener. And then, and I'll say this, me saying this on the podcast, if there's any Alcester Hudson English teachers that are wondering, Scott Neu can read. He didn't read a book probably the whole time that he was here.
Yeah.
Maybe it just wasn't the topic that was suited for me, right? But now that I found it, I can't get enough of the stuff. Like I just keep learning more and more, and I want to expand my knowledge of it to estate planning, to tax planning, to all those different intricacies of how retirement takes place in the market and different things. You're just like, give me more. And I'm sure you're speaking to it in yours. And in that, you hone your craft, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if what you do is all that I did when I was 10 years ago, things start to fizzle out, right?
Yep.
If I'm not growing, I'm dying. So
that's exactly right. Yeah, definitely going by that all the time. Yep. Yeah, it's easy to get relaxed feeling. I just want to be here, right? But it doesn't stay like that. Things are always changing. You have to keep developing, it's just so important to keep fueling it. So
yeah. I'll ask you this question. It's what I asked. This is what I've quoted with our football players for a while now.
Yeah.
What do you not have to beg a wolf to do?
Ooh.
What do you not have to beg a wolf to do?
Howl.
Howl. Okay. Howl. Hunt.
Yeah.
Right.
Hunt. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Right. And in that is that eagerness to, like, this is what I'm made to do. Right. And I use often with people, my head coach was Kalen DeBoer, that's now down at Alabama. Winners win because that's what winners do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That's the focus, right? Do winning type traits, winning type attributes, winning type things, and just keep doing those and then manifest every part of it. You want to see yourself as having a 10-person company, start talking yourself into it right now, right? Because it's today that we can start making our way forward to those new pieces, right? No. 100%. Well, let me ask you this. So Pierre Closets, let's say I've got an interest and I'm going, you know what? I got something for my shop. I've got something for my home. Is there specific types of home that you only work with? Is it all homes? How do I, as a future customer, link up with Roby and his team to get something like this taken care of?
Yeah. So, product wise and stuff like that, to find out more, easy. You can either call us 605 223 5855. Thank you. And then used to be my cell phone. I'm super excited it's not anymore. And so then also email at info@pureclosets and .com. And Alicia will probably be the one to reply back with that. But she'll kind of relay it to me if it needs to. But we'll just come in and take a look at your space. And garages, we say closets, right? But like it can be walk-in closets, it can be reach-in closets, it can be large closets, small, rip the whole closet out and put something else in there. We do offices, we do a lot of mud rooms, just a lot of fun things. So
if you've got space and you're looking for something specific, there's something that you guys can manage to figure out after a good conversation about what you'd like to get accomplished.
Yeah, storage solutions. Yep.
No, I love it. I love it. Let me ask you this now. Any advice? You've got a boy that's going to be graduating this year, right?
Yeah.
Any advice for that next generation, or that's somebody else that's going, geez, what do I do with this? How do I go about moving forward? Any advice for this, that kind of person walking around just not knowing where to go? Somebody that started their career just out of passion. What do you think ignites something like that?
I really think, we do run into this with some of the people, that we run into, and like, they're just kind of like, you can tell that there's something great in them, and so you want them to just, in a qualifying question, just like, what do you love to do? And it's sometimes like mine was electrician at thought, right? But what I realized I love doing is I liked designing. I love talking to the customer, like, how do you think you're going to walk into this room? Are you going to put a light switch here? Are you going to put art on the wall? I just love designing with them, right? And so just trying to help them find what's something that just like fuels in them. It could be almost a spark, right? They just don't, you just don't realize what it is. But man, if you can find that and you sometimes you don't know until you try different things. So you try it and something, it's okay to pivot. It's okay.
Absolutely.
You don't have to decide one thing and go with that for your rest of your life. That's just who I am, right? So things change. And you get better, and your life your family or whatever it is could change, and and that's kind of the journey of it all. I think that's the exciting end of it too.
There's a lot of ways to get to the end story that you've got in front of you. And it might not be the one that you thought it was going to be. Right.
Yeah.
And it's, I know even for myself, walking out as a biology major and going, we're going to do something medical field, so on and so forth, to having my supervisor at University of Sioux Falls go like, nah, like you're really good chatting with people in front of people. How about, you ever thought about teaching? And I'm like, no, not at all. I didn't even think about it, to having that be like the first piece. And then it'd be, there's a whole story that goes with that type of thing. And then finding myself, teaching and coaching. That's what I do. I teach and coach life. I teach and coach money, management, and getting you to where you never thought that you could go. Well, there's ways that we can get there. And if I don't know, because Lord knows I don't ever know everything, I've got resources and people that we do know. And for like our company, has been around for 40 years. There's a lot of depth and breadth that we have. And then we just tacked on a new engine with New Edge to just keep pulling us forward into the future. Really expands things. But you're right, we don't know where we're going all the time, but that's all right.
It's okay.
That's all right. Find people around you, try new things, experiment with it, and then when you find it, hone it, trust it, and dig in.
Yep, for sure.
No, Roby, I know we're pulling this in. I hope it was fruitful for you. I
100%.
always have a really good time chatting with you on these things.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you popping on. Hopefully
Yep.
we can just continue to do this. We'll have you sometime on in the future type of thing. We'll just get the next
Yeah.
development of what's
Love
going
to.
on.
Yep. We got a lot of
Um,
new things coming.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
can't talk about it yet, but we're coming with some stuff.
And
So,
that's perfect. That's a great teaser for
yep.
the future of what we're trying
Yep.
to get accomplished,
Sure.
right? We've
Yep.
got the ways to get a hold of you, and then the rest of this is just let's stay in contact.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Yep.
Yep.